going on to our final guest. As I kiddingly said earlier, looking forward to this next guest. She is an amazing business owner. She is the CEO of LifeFlip Media, and she is an amazing mother to 4 wonderful children. I don't know if she thinks they're wonderful all times, but she's been around 2 of them for the last 6 weeks nonstop because we've all been together. And she runs, she's a health and wellness motivator. Don't mix that with a coach. So she's inspiring women all across the country with her workouts, and she works for an amazing apparel. She's a director for a brand called Zyia. You can go check it out. We're going to talk to her about that amazing fitness brand that you could support with amazing women that are just out creating. They also have a female CEO, so I'd love to get her on the show for our Founders Friday. So let's bring Lucie Mitchell onto the show. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello. Fancy seeing you here.
I know.
So here we'll start off with one. I know we had a mom on earlier with 3-year-old running around. So you see the struggles out there. There's kids that are sitting at home. Their schedules are very light. This remote learning, let's face it, it's basically 3 days of work for only 2 to 3 hours a day. What do you think parents could be doing to kind of keep their kids going, right? We can't just put them in front of an Xbox while we work. So we don't want the Xbox to be a babysitter. If you have older kids, what are you telling the women that you speak to on the regular and your amazing stories that you're doing on your Instagram, which I want you to plug later? But what are you telling them to get through this? I know that you help a lot of young mothers. So what's your advice to those mothers?
Well, first of all, I think that everybody needs to just take this with a little bit of grace. What I've told a lot of moms, whether they're moms of young kids or like myself, where my youngest is 13 and, I've got a 13, almost 16-year-old at home. It's not so much about the changes that I've had to make in my schedule, but also the changes that they have. You are dealing with kids that the most that they had a schedule. They had a strict regimen where it's they knew that they got up in the morning, that they had their breakfast, that they tied their shoes, that they went to school, they sat at their desk, and, from 8 to 9 was math, 9 to 10 was, reading. Then they had recess. They had their own structure. And now they've come home and that structure is gone. And it's up to us now as parents to either recreate that structure or, fly by the seat of our pants. It's not our jobs to become mommy teacher. It's first of all, it's our jobs to make sure that we're making sure that psychologically and emotionally that they're okay. If that means that we have to work it into our schedules, I work from home anyways, that's what we do. So I already built it into my schedule to work out. I was just having a virtual PTA meeting the other night, and this is for the high school. And one of the high school moms was saying, to the principal, so what are we doing to ensure that our kids are moving? And I said, what are you talking about? My kids are moving. Well, what are yours doing? Mine's not moving. I said, well, are you making him move? His body, hey, get off the Xbox 30 minutes. And this is a high schooler. So I think a lot of it is taking responsibility and then also stepping back and realizing, yes, our kids do need some sort of a movement. And what we do is that dancing, putting on silly music and dancing. Maybe not everybody has an Xbox or a Wii in their home, but you all have phones or radios or TVs that you can put some silly music on and move your bodies. Do you have pets that need dogs that they need to be walked? And sometimes it's just play wrestle. It's just thinking outside the box. And I think that that's what I'm telling everyone is it doesn't have to be 15 push-ups and a bunch of air squats and, an actual PE regimen. It's just about making sure that they're taking a break from technology, because if they take a break with you, you're also taking a break. Because honestly, that's what we all need too.
I love that. Taking a break is key for everybody. I think you have to almost take more breaks now than ever before, because it does beat down on you, whether you're watching the news or not. There's a lot. We're going on, 30 plus days of being the shelter in place. Granted, it's not like a national order, so we don't have to stay in, but you're looked at funny especially when when we go grocery shopping, I wear a mask and you wear gloves. So we look like the confused couple, but there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I don't want to, one breathes and the other one touches things. But here's
I
a
don't want to
question.
mess up my makeup. I don't want to mess up my makeup.
Yeah, I don't want to mess up your makeup. I don't want to shave, and I don't know why I bother wearing the mask. But let me ask you this. As someone who is a mom, a business owner, we're talking about these mental breaks. What are you what's your advice to folks who maybe a little bit younger than us, or maybe older than us, how to handle all of this? It's almost like a mental beatdown. I know I interview a lot of veterans and we're like, hey, we've been deployed. We got this, right? And you see that from like USAA has these great commercials talking about how first responders, a large majority of the media, this kind of bad news is just kind of embedded into our brain cells. But folks like you, who you didn't serve, there's nothing wrong with that. What is your advice to folks like to get through this? I mean, it's a beatdown. It's all right to cry, right? I mean, it's all right to have these mental moments where you're just like defeated and you need to go put yourself in a corner.
Well, my slogan lately has been drinking a bottle of Chardonnay in the closet. It's just, I mean, I literally haven't done it yet. I'm just openly doing it, or in my office. But in all seriousness, I am a big proponent on meditation. There are a lot of free apps out there that you can download, and it doesn't have to be 30 minutes long, because a lot of times we don't have that. Another technique, I mean, I'll go back to the app. There's an app called meditate.me. It's a free app you can download. It has a wide variety of different types of meditations. They're themed meditations. So whether it's calming meditation, a sleep meditation, there's a money manifestation meditations, which there's huge power behind that. So if you are really struggling of figuring out how you're going to put that next meal on the table, or you got your stimulus check and that's gone like that, and what are you going to do next? Putting that energy out there into the universe to power of positivity, or a calming meditation. It really does just kind of change your mindset and just shift the internal energy within your body. Another thing that I do recommend and do myself is journaling. Get it out of your head and out on paper. And if it's negative thoughts or non-encouraging thoughts, burn it. Get it out of your head and then burn it. It's also an exercise that you could do with your kids. If they're having a lot of frustrating thoughts because they're not able to be with their kids and their friends and their teachers, and they're sad, you could just do this exercise with them where it's just like, let's just put all those ugly feelings and that sadness out on paper, and then let's burn it. And then let's go have an ice cream sundae. Who doesn't want that? Don't put all the strict regiments of like you're needing to stick to meal plans and worried about gaining the COVID-19. Like, those are the kind of things that I'm telling people, because I'm doing that myself. I just find a good book, like personal development, or a book that you can escape in. Tell your children to do the same thing. Making sure that you're disconnecting from social media. Get outside, even if it's in your backyard, and sit out and have a picnic. Those kind of things help just shift that energy just a little bit.
That's outstanding and great sound advice. I think more people need to follow that. I think a lot of people run around with the sky is falling mentality and just bury themselves in their house, or they become the Dudley Do-Rights, where they're just, you're wrong if you go outside. How dare your kid go? How dare you cross your sidewalk and not wear a mask? Or how dare you do this? Or go to the store? We suffer. I see a lot of people who, because on one part of the country they're on a certain restriction, we all should be on that restriction. And I think over the coming 14 days, as the country comes out of this lockdown, this shelter in place, I mean, I think people are going to have to realize certain part of the country is locked down, and still, because they have, obviously, they're dealing with COVID-19 more, but other places that have done their job have less density. We'll talk about our own state here. We flatten the curve and we have beautiful weather. This is a blessing for us. We want to be outside because the sun's out and we have beautiful places to go. I guess I'll leave you with one of the things I do want to touch on before we wrap. One thing that I've seen you, Lucie, do, besides being an amazing CEO for our company, LifeFlip Media, you are a great leader. you also are driven and you are a serial entrepreneur. You love to create businesses and you're really good at it. I've watched you create one over the last 6 months that even during record unemployment and people losing jobs, you became a director for an amazing company out of Utah. So I want you to talk about that because I want people who are at home, it should be an option that maybe your job doesn't exist right now and you don't know when you're able to go back to it. But there are small up and coming brands that you can make real dollars and you get to do stuff that is enjoyable and you're not peddling, a shake or something that makes you pretty or, I mean, actually what you do does make you pretty, but you know what I mean? Like everybody's got, some tchotchke that they're going to sell you. And this is different. Apparel is one of those cool things. And honestly, nobody's really wearing a full suit. I know I'm not. No. So you're wearing, you work for an amazing apparel company. So let's talk about that briefly. Kind of tell people, fill in what you're doing. And if they're interested, where they could go find out. Because I think creating opportunities for people in America to find maybe a side job while they wait for their job to come back. Because we honestly don't know. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, about 5 months ago, I came across this opportunity to work for this up and coming apparel brand called Zyia Active. It's only 3 years old, based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And what we are is an active and leisure wear apparel line that is comparable to higher end lines like Lululemon and Athleta at a fraction of the cost. And we are a direct sales company in the fact that I don't need to carry an inventory. I just host online parties and at the time in-home parties if I want to, or people can just go directly to my site and it ships from our warehouse out of Utah. We are based out of Utah, out of the United States and Canada. And there's only about 25,000 reps between those two areas. And it's been such a light in my life. And just based on the fact of, first of all, the leggings are amazing. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that much right now. I could go on and on about how awesome this activewear line is right now, just based on the fact that so many of us are working from home. And then you put on a pair of leggings that gives you an instant tummy tuck and lifts your booty. And like, you could just work out, go out, like the wicking away of the sweat, the joggers that are perfect for the office and for date night. I could go like on and on. But what's more important or even more satisfying is the sense of community and the fact that this company is completely debt-free and is giving back. Last month, they gave every single one of us anywhere from a 5 to a 10% stimulus bonus on our paychecks because they wanted to make sure that we were all going to be okay during this time. I sold more leggings and more activewear during a pandemic than since I've started. Already, I'm projected to meet, if not break, what I sold last month. People are shopping, people are buying, and people are joining us because you look around, you even go on your Facebook, what are people doing? They are hosting these parties with Roden & Fields, with Scentsy, Beachbody, all of these direct sale type companies that people are able to do from home because their companies are their full-time jobs. They sent them home or they had to close down. So network marketing and direct sales companies is where it's at right now. And these companies are flourishing. We paid out, I think it was just last month, like $4 million in commissions in 1 month, just selling leggings. Like for me, it's like a no-brainer. Yeah. And my team has, in the last week, I've signed on 4 reps who just want to do it on the side, just to supplement what's going on with their, jobs, and their jobs have slowed down. And it's a women-owned and ran company. So there's just a lot that I could totally share with everybody. And you get, you don't need an inventory. You can work this on your own time, and they're just all amazing. And I think that right for me, it's really just put a fire back in my soul. And coincides with my health and wellness business about moving your body and feeling confident in your body, because a lot of times a lot of women do not like to move and work out because they don't feel comfortable in their own skin and they can't find workout clothes that make them feel comfortable. And then I introduce them to Zyia, and I get so many messages. They're like, before I never even wanted to go for a walk because I couldn't find a pair of leggings that made me feel comfortable and confident, and I've lost 5 pounds. I'm not saying the leggings do the workout for you, but if they make you feel comfortable and confident enough to move your body just a little bit, I think that that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lucie, for sharing that insight. I think it's important that people realize that. And you touched on one thing, and then we're going to go. You talked about community. Absolutely. That's the one thing I've seen in Zyia, being around them right before we got locked down. We were all in Nashville together. Amazing team. I can't speak for that. I've met these folks from CEO down. They are amazing. They're very positive, uplifting. If you're looking for a brand to support, I highly recommend them. Any brand out of Utah that's American, they're doing their job, supporting these amazing women around the country that are they're all very happy. Which
they all like
cool.
you.
Yeah, they're all good, and their gear is comfortable. I wear it and enjoy it. But you did say one thing that kind of tied in our guest that we had on Wednesday, Heather Monahan. We talked about Peloton, right? When you talk about community, and I know you and I and Maddie are avid Peloton riders, because there is that ability to high five each other, and you don't get to go see your cousin and your bestie down in Palm Desert, but at least you guys can ride together and compete. Mm-hmm. And it builds community, and you have these other people. So it's great that you touched that. We're going to have you back on, Lucie, very soon. Maybe we can get you on next Friday for Female Founders Friday. But before we go, tell folks, number one, how they can get a hold of you. And two, if they're interested in joining Zyia and learning more about it, where to go.
Well, they can, of course, follow me over on my Instagram, which is Lucie with an IE, not a Y, .e.mitchell. And then if they do want to reach out to me with regards to Zyia, I would just honestly go to luciemitchell.com, which is my website. And there is a tab there that you can shoot me a message. I will respond usually within 15, 20 minutes, and we can strike up a conversation that way.
Outstanding. Thank you, Lucie, so much for joining us today. You did a great job. I appreciate you and your insight and inspiring all these amazing women out there. I do see it so go follow her on Instagram. I'm telling you, she's entertaining on her stories. As someone who participates and sees her in them all the time. We're still trying to learn TikTok together. We still owe you all a TikTok. Look at those leggings. Come on. It's like the Beetlejuice leggings. I love it. That's what I'm naming them. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.